Lan remembered the day her parents left. She was 7, holding a pink backpack. The sky was gray, the air too still. Her mother bent down, but avoided her eyes. "Stay with Grandma for a few days," she said. Lan nodded, believing it was temporary. The car door closed with a sharp click. Tires rolled away on wet pavement. Lan ran after them until her legs gave out. The street was empty, the world too quiet. Ba H letter 1ED3NG found her standing in the rain. "Come inside, little one," she whispered softly. She wrapped a towel around Lan's small shoulders. The house smelled like tea and old books. That night, Lan couldn't sleep. She heard her grandmother on the phone. Her tone was steady, almost fierce. "You'll find the forged papers in the drawer," she said. "Tonight it ends." Lan didn't understand what forged meant, but she remembered the tension in her grandmother's voice. It was the sound of protection. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Her parents never came back. Every evening, she sat by the window. Sometimes she drew pictures of cars returning. Sometimes she just stared until the stars blurred. Ba H letter 183NG cooked warm rice porridge each morning. She tied Lan's hair before school and kissed her cheek. "Work hard, always keep your head high," she said. Lan tried. She studied, she smiled, she waited. But waiting turned into knowing. Knowing they were gone. The day she found the gold key, she was 10. It was hidden in an old jewelry box. "Keep it close," her grandmother told her. "One day you'll need it." Lan thought it was a secret treasure. She wore it every day without question. The key became part of her skin. Years passed quietly in that small house. Birthdays were just the two of them and a single candle. Lan learned to bake, to plant flowers, to fix small things. Her grandmother's hands grew slower, but her mind stayed sharp. Sometimes, when thunder rolled outside, they sat together in the dark. "People show their truth in storms," Ba H letter 1ED3NG said. "Remember that." Lan did. She learned that love didn't need grand gestures. It lived in small things: soup, stories, silence. At 14, she saw her parents on TV. They stood in front of a luxury car company. Smiling. Successful. Her chest went cold. She realized they had built their empire without looking back. That night she asked, "Why did they leave me?" Ba H letter 1ED3NG looked at her for a long time. "Because some people choose gold over blood," she said. Lan understood then. Family wasn't who gave you life. It was who stayed when life turned hard. And as she held the gold key, she made herself a silent promise. One day, she would find the truth they buried. And she would never let anyone take what her grandmother gave her. The rain had stopped by the time they gathered. Lan sat beside her grandmother's lawyer, Mr. Tewin. The conference room smelled of polished wood and silence. Across the table, her parents whispered to each other. They looked nervous behind their expensive calm. Mr. Tewin opened a blue leather folder. His hands moved slowly, deliberately, like a ritual. "We're here to read Mrs. Hong's final will," he said. Lan kept her eyes on the gold key around her neck. Mr. Tewin began listing the assets. 2 houses, both paid in full. A portfolio worth more than 30 billion dong. A controlling share in An Duong Educational Company. The air in the room thickened with shock. Mr. Min's hand twitched on the table. Mrs. T.H. letter 1EA30 gasped, her voice trembling but calculated. "That can't be right. She was just a teacher." Mr. Tewin looked up calmly. She was also a founder and a wise investor. He paused before continuing. "All of it will pass to her legal heir, Lan Ngu Y letter 1EC5N. The room went still. Lan's breath caught in her throat. Her parents stared, disbelief turning to greed. Mrs. T.H. letter 1EA30 leaned forward, voice dripping honey. "Sweetheart, we can help you manage all this." Lan said nothing. Mr. Tuin slid a small envelope toward her. Her name was written in her grandmother's hand. Lan unfolded the letter with trembling fingers. "The key you wear opens a safe," it read. "Inside lies proof of what they tried to do. Truth will protect you when I no longer can." Her throat tightened. The key suddenly felt heavier, alive with purpose. Mr. Min's voice rose. "This is absurd. She's a child. She can't handle this." Mr. Tuin's tone remained firm. "Lan is of legal age now. The estate is hers." Mr. Min's jaw clenched, the mask cracking. He turned to his wife, muttering something sharp. Mrs. T.H. letter 1EA3. O dabbed her fake tears with a silk handkerchief. "You know, Lan, your grandmother could be difficult," she said. "She didn't always think clearly." Lan finally looked up. "She thought clearly enough to raise me," she replied. Her father slammed a hand on the table. "You don't understand how business works." Mr. Tuin leaned back, calm as stone. "I believe the discussion is over," he said. He gathered the documents and locked them away. Lan rose, her legs unsteady but her heart solid. Her parents followed, voices lowered, plotting already. Outside, the rain had started again. Lan walked through it, letter clutched in her hand. The ink smudged, but the words stayed. Truth, protection, strength. Behind her, she heard her father's voice. "She won't keep it for long," he said. Lan didn't turn around. The gold key pressed warm against her skin. Her grandmother's last promise echoed in her mind. The storm had passed, but another was coming. And this time, she would be ready. The letter arrived 1 week later. A white envelope slipped under her dorm door. Lan's name was printed in bold black ink. Inside was a legal petition for guardianship review. Her parents' names filled the top of the page. They claimed she was under undue influence. Her hands shook as she read the words. It wasn't just greed now, it was war. Her phone buzzed with a news alert. Their faces filled the screen, smiling for cameras. Mrs. T.H. letter 1EA3. OS voice trembled perfectly. "We're just worried about our daughter's well-being." Mr. Min nodded solemnly beside her. "She's confused. Others are taking advantage of her." Lan felt the rage burn behind her ribs. She slammed her laptop shut and paced. Her roommate watched quietly, unsure what to say. "They want to freeze my grandmother's assets," Lan said. "They want to control everything again." Her phone rang before she could breathe. Mr. Tuin's calm voice came through the line. "I've seen the filing and the broadcast," he said. "They're playing for sympathy, but we have truth." Lan exhaled slowly. "What do we do now?" she asked. "We follow your grandmother's plan," he replied. She prepared for this long before she passed. That night, Lan searched her dorm room. She pulled out the old toy box her grandmother packed. Under the false bottom, she found another envelope. The handwriting was unmistakable. "For when they come," it said. Inside was a letter and a small USB drive. Her grandmother's words flowed like calm water. "My dear Lan, they will come for the money, not for you. They always have. It's who they are. In the drive, you'll find 12 years of evidence." Lan plugged it into her laptop. Folders appeared, each marked by year. Photos of her parents on beaches. Bank statements and property records. Emails with signatures she didn't recognize. And one folder labeled Witnesses. Inside were 3 names from On Duong Company. Next to them, her grandmother had written, "They know everything." Lan sat frozen, tears stinging her eyes. Every doubt she had ever felt dissolved. This wasn't just inheritance, it was justice. She called Mr. Tuin again. "I have the files," she said quietly. He paused, then answered, "Good, keep them safe." The next few days blurred together. Old colleagues of her grandmother reached out. They offered to testify, to stand by Lan's side. Her university arranged security, and new housing. Even the dean called, offering support. For the first time, Lan didn't feel alone. Mr. Tuin's final call that week made her smile. "Your father tried to bribe me," he said. "I recorded every word." Lan laughed softly for the first time in days. "They still think money solves everything," she said. "But my grandmother taught me better." She held the gold key in her palm, warm against her skin. It no longer felt like protection, it felt like power. And for the first time, she was ready to use it. The meeting was set for Monday morning. Lan arrived an hour early, nerves coiled tight. The room smelled of old wood and tension. Mr. Tuin placed a glass of water before her. "Remember," he said softly, "you hold the truth." She nodded, clutching her grandmother's letter. The door opened sharply at 9. Her parents entered with a tall man in gray. His briefcase gleamed like a weapon. "This is Mr. High, our attorney," Mrs. Th. Letter 1EA30 announced. Her tone dripped with artificial warmth. Lan stayed silent, her pulse steady. Mr. High spoke first, smooth and confident. "We're here to propose a reasonable settlement," he said. He slid a stack of papers across the table. 50% of all assets to my clients. This will prevent an exhausting legal battle." Mr. Min leaned forward, wearing a practiced smile. "Family should share, not fight," he said. Lan glanced at Mr. Tuin, then at her parents. "Is that what you call family?" she asked quietly. Mrs. Th. Letter 1EA3, OS hand clutched her pearls dramatically. "We only want what's best for you." Lan opened her laptop without replying. She connected it to the conference screen. The first image appeared, her parents on a beach. A date stamp glowed at the corner. "1 month after you left me," Lan said. Her mother's face froze, the color draining fast. She clicked again, property records, bank transfers. Each slide tighter, sharper, undeniable. "You bought 2 houses while telling the world you were broke." Her father's jaw tightened. "Those documents mean nothing," he snapped. Lan moved to the next slide. A scan letter filled the screen. They're signed parental termination. In the margin, her father's handwriting. Gladly, the kid was always trouble. The silence in the room was heavy. Lan's voice cracked only once. "You didn't lose me, you erased me." Mr. Min stood, fists clenched. "This is manipulation. We were under pressure." Mr. Tuin remained calm. "Every piece of evidence has been verified," he said. He reached for the intercom. "Send them in, please." The door opened, and 3 people entered. Executives from On Duong Company. Their expressions were cold, professional, unforgiving. "Hello, Mr. Min," the CFO said evenly. "It's been a long time." Mrs. Th. Letter 1EA3, OS hand, trembled on her chair. Mr. Min tried to speak but failed. Mr. Tuin placed another file on the table. "This meeting is being recorded with consent," he said. "And copies of all evidence have been submitted to court." Lan looked at her parents one last time. They were silent now, their faces pale. The power had shifted completely. She stood, voice steady. "I am my grandmother's granddaughter," she said. "Not your child anymore." Mr. Min sank into his chair, defeated. Outside, sunlight spilled through the window. Lan closed her laptop and exhaled. For the first time in 12 years, she felt free. The company building rose ahead, tall and quiet. Lan adjusted the navy blazer that once belonged to her grandmother. Her hands shook slightly as she fixed the buttons. Mr. Tuin smiled beside her, calm and proud. "You're ready," he said. Lan nodded, unsure if she believed it. The receptionist stared as they entered the lobby. "You look just like Mrs. Hong," she whispered softly. Lan managed a smile and walked toward the boardroom. 8 executives waited inside, expressions unreadable. Some curious, others doubtful, all watching. Mr. Tuin cleared his throat. Allow me to present Ms. Lan, NGUY letter 1EC5N, majority shareholder, he announced. The room stayed silent for a heartbeat too long. Lan placed her grandmother's leather folder on the table. She could feel every gaze on her hands. Instead of speaking immediately, she opened the folder slowly. Inside were handwritten notes, plans, and budgets. Each one marked with her grandmother's initials. Lan took a breath and began. I know I'm young, she said clearly. I don't have her years of experience. But I carry her purpose, and I intend to honor it. No one interrupted. The sound of the air conditioner filled the space. Lan lifted her eyes, meeting each stare one by one. Before I speak about change, she said, I'd like to hear about what already works. A murmur spread through the room. The acting CEO, Mr. Fong, leaned back slowly. All right, he said, let's talk. The tension softened, replaced by cautious respect. Lan listened, asked questions, took notes. Her calm disarmed them more than authority could. 3 hours passed before the meeting ended. As they stood to leave, Mr. Fong smiled faintly. Your grandmother would have been proud, he said. Lan's throat tightened, but she only nodded. Outside, the staff had gathered in the open workspace. Dozens of faces turned toward her. She climbed onto the small platform near reception. Her palms were damp, her voice steady. Most of you knew my grandmother, she began. She built this company from nothing. She believed in education, in fairness, in people. I don't plan to change what works. I'm here to learn, to listen, and to protect her legacy. A hush spread, then faint applause. Not loud, not unanimous, but real. For the first time, Lan felt like she belonged there. That night, her phone buzzed with a message. Mr. Tuan's voice was calm but serious. Your father contacted 3 board members today, he said. He's warning them about your instability. Lan looked at the ceiling, the old fear returning. But it didn't stay long. He's predictable, she said quietly. We'll be ready. Outside her window, the city lights flickered. Lan touched the gold key pendant at her throat. It was warm again, like a heartbeat. She smiled faintly, whispering into the still air. You taught me well, Grandma. And for the first time, the word family felt right again. Rain threatened again, over the courthouse steps. Lan stood between Mr. Tuan and Mrs. L. Letter 1EC7, her grandmother's oldest friend. Reporters gathered, microphones flashing like lightning. Across the crowd, she saw her parents arrive. Their designer clothes were gone, replaced with humble outfits. A cross hung around her mother's neck. Mr. Min held a worn Bible for the cameras. They looked like saints reborn for the spotlight. We've been praying for reconciliation, Mrs. T.H. Letter 1EA3O called out. Her voice carried sweet and false through the air. Lan didn't respond. Mr. Tuan guided her toward the entrance. Mr. Min blocked their path halfway up the steps. Without family, what does money even mean? He said. Lan stared at him, her eyes steady. Without honesty, what does family mean? She replied. A staged collapse followed. Her mother fainted dramatically. Photographers rushed forward, shutters snapping wildly. Their lawyer raised his voice, smooth and loud. The Tanners seek love, not money, he declared. Lan walked past the scene without a glance. Inside, the courtroom smelled of wood and dust. Judge B. Letter 1EA30, an older woman with sharp eyes, presided. The proceedings began quietly, each word heavy. Mr. Tuan presented documents with precise confidence. Then he nodded for Lan to stand. She held her grandmother's old journal in both hands. Your Honor, she said, this was written 12 years ago. She opened it, voice trembling only once. They left her here with no goodbye, she read aloud. She waits at the window each night for their return. Each page was a wound reopened in public. Lan continued reading, steady as she could. Entries about tears, silence, birthdays spent alone. Proof that abandonment was not confusion, but choice. She placed the journal on the evidence table. Then came the bank records and property files. Vacation homes bought while she waited by the window. Accounts opened under false names. Emails discussing forged documents. Every detail carved the truth deeper. Their lawyer tried to object, but the judge silenced him. Lan lifted the final page, the termination document. Her father's handwriting stood out clearly. Gladly, the kid was always too much trouble. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Mrs. T.H. letter 1EA30's face twisted, the mask gone. "You don't understand," she shouted suddenly. "We were building something. We needed freedom." Mr. Min's voice cracked. "I'm still her father. Blood should matter." Lan's eyes burned, but her voice was calm. "Blood didn't raise me," she said. "My grandmother did. She was both mother and father." The gavel struck once, hard and final. Judge B. letter 1EA30's verdict echoed through the room. All assets remain under Ms. Lan's name. Petition denied. Contact prohibited permanently. Silence followed, deep and clean. Her parents sat motionless, their empire of lies undone. Lan exhaled slowly, the weight finally lifting. Outside, the clouds began to break. A sliver of sunlight touched the courthouse doors. She held the gold key in her palm. Her grandmother's voice echoed softly in her memory. "When the storm ends, you'll know who you are." And in that moment, she truly did. A year passed since the trial ended. Lan's life had grown calm again. She balanced her studies with the company's work. The garden behind her grandmother's house bloomed brightly. She pruned the roses just as she was taught. "Cut above the node," she whispered with a smile. The gold key still hung around her neck. Now it rested beside her grandmother's old ring. Mr. Tuin arrived in the evening with a bottle of cider. Mrs. L. letter 1EC7 followed, carrying warm dishes from her kitchen. They laughed around the table, light and easy. Lan raised her glass to them all. "To Grandma Hong," she said softly. "The woman who trusted me before I trusted myself." Laughter filled the small dining room. It felt like home, not memory. Later, Little Mai showed her a science project. Her eyes shone with the same spark Lan once had. "Do you think I can be an engineer too?" she asked. Lan touched the key at her throat. "Of course you can," she said gently. "You just need to keep your heart brave." Outside, the wind carried the scent of roses. Lan looked toward the stars and smiled. Her grandmother's promise still lived within her.